Summer vacation had finally arrived, and the once bustling university corridors now stood silent. The dorms were nearly empty as students packed up to return home or set off on their vacations. For the first time in months, I told myself I wanted nothing more than peace. At 18, after finishing my first year of university, I was desperate for a break. Not from studies alone, but from the noise, the pace, and the endless chatter of campus life. While my friends were busy planning trips, adventures, and loud weekend getaways, I longed for something much simpler. A quiet house, no alarms, no deadlines, no responsibilities. My father had already left a week earlier for a 2-month business trip overseas. My mother, Sarah, had just returned from visiting her sister, and after only a day at home, she casually mentioned she'd be leaving again to meet an old friend. That could only mean one thing. For the next few days, the entire house would belong to me. At the time, I didn't realize solitude could feel like both a blessing and a curse. The moment Mom's car disappeared down the street, I locked the front door, kicked off my shoes, and turned up the speakers. Music filled every corner of the house, something I hadn't done in months. At first, it felt liberating. I made some snacks, sprawled across the couch, scrolled aimlessly through my phone, and lost myself in random videos. For a few hours, it truly felt like freedom. But by evening, the silence began to stretch too far. The music no longer drowned out the stillness. Every sound, the hum of the refrigerator, the creak of the wooden floor, felt strangely amplified, as if the house were holding its breath. I tried to shake it off, jumping between apps, videos, and chat messages, but the quiet kept pressing in. It was almost as though the house itself was listening. At some point, exhaustion caught up with me. I must have dozed off on the couch, headphones still in place. When I finally woke up, the screen had gone dark, and the air felt strangely heavy. I stretched, still groggy and half asleep, when a sound jolted me fully awake. The faint, unmistakable creak of the front door. I froze, pulling off my headphones, just in time to hear my mother's voice call out, filled with confusion. "Jake, you're home. I thought you were out." My heart skipped a beat. I hadn't heard her car. She must have come back earlier than expected. My laptop sat open on the coffee table, its bright screen revealing a dozen tabs, half finished. Searches about mental health, stress, and coping with loneliness. They were things I never meant for anyone, least of all her, to see. She stepped into the room, her gaze landing on the screen before turning to me. "Jake, what's all this?" I swallowed hard, trying to sound casual. "It's nothing, Mom. Just research." She said nothing for a few seconds, just stared quietly before asking, "You looked upset in some of those notes. Is everything okay?" Embarrassment burned through me sharper than I expected. "It's fine. Just stuff for a project," I muttered. "Okay," she finally said, though her tone carried doubt. That evening, the house felt thick with unspoken words. We ate dinner in silence, her stealing glances at me avoiding her eyes. The conversation we didn't have was louder than anything we could have said. Over the next few days, things felt different. She started staying home more often than usual, maybe because she didn't trust leaving me alone anymore. She'd linger nearby, offering quiet check-ins. "You okay?" Or, "Want to go out for a bit?" And every time I gave the same tired reply, "I'm fine, Mom." But I wasn't. Being caught off guard like that, not for something shameful, but for something so painfully vulnerable, somehow felt even worse. She'd seen my loneliness written across those searches and notes, a quiet confession I never meant for her to read. That night, there was a soft knock on my door. "Jake," she said gently, her voice low. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry if I embarrassed you earlier." I looked up from my laptop, but didn't meet her eyes. "It's okay," I muttered. "No, it's not," she replied. "You're allowed to have bad days, you know. You don't always have to act fine." Her voice wavered just slightly at the end, a crack I hadn't heard in years. It reminded me of something I'd almost forgotten. She'd been alone, too. With Dad gone for months at a time, maybe she was just as weary as I was lonely. After that night, something subtle shifted between us. She began asking more questions. Not intrusive ones, but real, caring ones. "Do you still talk to your friends? Do you ever feel like you're missing out? Are you happy, Jake?" At first, I brushed her off with short, safe answers. But one evening after dinner, I finally said what I hadn't been able to admit to myself. I don't think I'm good at being around people anymore, I confessed quietly. It's easier when I'm just here. She gave me a small, sad smile. I know that feeling, she said. I blinked in surprise. You do? Of course, she answered softly. After your father started traveling so much, I stopped talking to people too. Sometimes it's easier to stay quiet than to explain how tired you are. That conversation lasted for hours. We talked about her childhood, my fears, her regrets, everything we'd both kept hidden for too long. For the first time, we spoke not as mother and son, but as two people trying to understand each other.